showtime.
OnlySlabs.
Hey there, comic book friends and fiends. It's Rob here with the Great Wall of Comics, and welcome to this special edition of OnlySlabs. And it can't be a special edition of OnlySlabs without my very special partner, Chris, the comic vet. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm happy for you having had this idea. This was today's episode. This special edition is 100% the brainchild of this man over here, Chris, the comic vet. I was all going to just have a day off, no show in the pipeline, nothing. You guys all crying that you didn't have a show to watch, devastation everywhere, cats and dogs fighting, war erupts globally, famine and feast everywhere. Chris said, we can't do that. We have a responsibility to keep people calm and even keeled. And this is coming from an army man. And
also true.
When he uses keel, you know you're in trouble. Anyways, so Chris said, let's do a pre-record. Let's do a mid-year check-in with our top 5 pickups so far this year. That's a great idea. We'll do our top 5 pickups this year. Of course, they have to be slabbed pickups, or slab. They didn't have to be slabbed when we pick them up. They have to be slabbed now when we go to show them on the show, because OnlySlabs is kind of in the name, which meant I had a litany of books that were disqualified. I think Chris knew this, and this is why he chose to do this, because they are either not at CGC yet, or they're in CGC now, or at my presser, so a lot of books that I have picked up this year are not on the table. But I still have some doozies. I have some power punches here, Chris.
It's true. I like let's be honest, like Rob and I, Rob, you and myself, we got to spend a little bit of time together just a few weeks ago, and I was privileged enough to see like one monster book that you picked up.
It's probably in this top 5.
If it's not in the top 5, God help me. Not that this is a competition, but Rob and I were, like it's boys doing boys. Let's be honest.
Anyway, so everybody, thank you for coming on out and joining us. There will be a giveaway opportunity partway through the show. We will drop a hashtag at some point, and that you'll put in the comments down below. Then not the live chat that's running down the side here during this premiere, but the actual comments down below in the comments section. Yeah. Then next week, when we come back for our live with our special guest, Papa Wheelie.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun.
We will run the giveaway first for the week. Yeah. Anyways, it's how it works out, as always. Anyways, so Chris, we're going to do this, I assume, like our holiday special. We did our top 10 from number 5 to number 1.
Right.
And what's going to be interesting is to take note, for those of you playing along at home, how many of these books that we put on our top 5 now still are on our top 10 at the end of the year, because some could slip.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Like 1 through 3 today, like, may not make the top 5 come Christmas time.
No, but they'll probably make the top 10. But those bottom 2, you don't know.
Yeah.
Especially with what I have at CGC.
Damn it. I'm good. This was a real good idea.
All right. So, Chris, I'm going to let you go first on this.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead and go first and hit us with your number 5 pickup for this year? Now, we're not necessarily saying it's not necessarily the most valuable.
No.
We're not necessarily saying it's the biggest. It's the most important book to you.
Yeah.
As far your 5th most important pickup to you.
So yeah, let's just preface this. This may not be the most expensive book that I'm showing in whatever order, and it may not be the most valuable, but it's the most valuable to my heart. And this year, Rob, as you know, I crafted a top 10 list that that I wanted to work on, and I've knocked off a few of those books. So ones that were slabbed, if you paid attention to my own channel, you may see them here. And either way, this is a lot of fun. And for those of you that watched our holiday special last year, it was a great deal of pride that Rob and I did with that particular episode. But one thing Rob did that I didn't see coming was he said, if I have a tie. So Rob, I have a tie
Of course you do.
with my number 5. You gonna blow me up here, or are we gonna do that?
Oh yeah, I can do that. You think I want to know how to drive this thing?
So I have a tie, and the specific reason that it's a tie is, well, I picked them
Couldn't
up.
decide.
I picked them up together at a con, local con here in Ontario. And the first one I'm going to show is The Amazing Spider-Man issue 601 in a CBCS 9.0. And you may not remember the numbering, but I can guarantee you remember the cover. This is the J. Scott Campbell, just one of the most famous covers that he's ever done. It's been homaged now. Yeah, people cosplay this. It's the MJ holding a cup of coffee as Peter takes off. Kind of looks like in the morning after.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's really interesting because you're right. I mean, I don't know. This hasn't seen a ton of other people homage it, but he's done some homages and some reinterpretations or
yes,
reimaginings. I think
yeah,
maybe
and that's fair. The term that you just said, reimagining, because this is presumably what I believe you're talking about.
that
the
and
most
the
recent
Renew
book.
Your Vows one that was it
Yeah.
was kind of like took the same or inspired by type of
Yes.
thing, but a phenomenal book. One of those books that's solely valued based on the cover because
Nothing
the
happened
story,
in the
yeah,
book.
nothing happens in the story, but
No. And what it's tied with was a book that was on my top 10 list, a book that I've owned multiple times throughout my life. And every time I've owned it, I've sold it, made a little bit of money on it. And now in a high grade, it's cooled down, but it's still an expensive book. And I picked it up for cheap in a low grade because I didn't really care. But it's the most homage book in the history of comics, The Amazing Spider-Man 300 in a 3.0. It is a newsstand. Not that that's important. Again, I got
that's
a
great. Yeah.
deal on the two of them together,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
I had to pull the trigger and just get this book back into my collection because I don't know how many times I've said I used to have that book in my collection and I don't
Right.
have it now. And Rob's like, "How do you not have that book, Chris?" So now I have the book. It's
now
a
you
low
can be on
grade.
now as the prices continue to come down though,
Yeah.
there's great opportunities for you to upgrade down the road.
And I have thought about that. Like I've seen friends of ours are given a high grade book, high grade version of this book away on my channel, and now a 6.0 could probably be found close to what I paid for this, or I should say for these together. But it's just a special book. I remember the day it came out, back when I used to go to the comic shop every week. So I'm just glad to have it back. It's just, one of those books that you move on from knowing you're going to get it again. But this has been the longest stretch of time in my life where it's just been missing. So I'm glad to have it back. The Amazing Spider-Man 300.
As a Spider-Man fan,
Oh,
not
yeah.
to have that book. I mean,
and a McFarlane fan too. But yeah,
that is true. I forget there's always that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. That book is, we joke about it all the time, but it is, along with Spider-Man 1, probably the most homaged. I mean, so much so that he only homaged it in the very next issue. He couldn't wait to homage it. It's like crazy. All right. Well, Chris, interestingly, I too have a tie at 5.
Oh, of course you do,
yeah.
Rob.
I really just couldn't decide between these two of them. If I had to, it'll probably be the second one I show you, but this one just recently came in the other day. Batman 234, the first Silver Age appearance of Two-Face in a 7.0. I've been working on, obviously, my Batmans from 250 on up, but I've also been picking up all the Silver Age first appearances of the various foes of Batman, the rogues, if you will. And this was the last of the major rogues that I needed to pick up for my PC. So really happy to add this. This is a beautiful looking book, actually. It's got some discoloration here on the edge, but
Okay.
but otherwise, I mean, it's generally for a 7.0, it just looks pretty well. And of course, it's Neil Adams.
Yeah. Yeah. That no
Yeah.
words, man. That's
Yeah,
a terrific book.
the real reason, I mean, it comes in at number 5 and doesn't come up any higher is simply that it's not his first appearance. It's only his first Silver Age appearance.
Gotcha.
Now, the other book at number 5 is a man's first appearance in Marvel Comics. This character has appeared previously, all the way back to the Golden Age, but for the first time shows up in the Bronze Age here, and that's the Tomb of Dracula, issue number 1.
I
In a
forgot you picked up that
7.5.
book earlier this year. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
So this one makes the list. Unfortunately, my Werewolf by Night first appearance, that one's one of those books that didn't get to be in here because it's a raw book and it's off being taken care of. But so yeah, the first appearance of Dracula, another Neil Adams cover. So number 5 belongs to Neil Adams, baby.
I see what you did there now. And you know what though, Rob? The Tomb of Dracula, every time I see this book, I know it is a Neil Adams, but it kind of has that Bernie Wrightson flavor to it. You know what I mean? Like, because we know Wrightson did Frankenstein, early Swamp Thing, and to me, just because of the setting where it takes place there, it kind of had that Wrightson flavor. But my God, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little
and it's so funny because everybody thinks of Neil Adams with Batman and some other books and even some of Superman stuff, but you don't really think of him much with Marvel and the horror stuff. But I mean, he showed up there and did some of these Tomb of Draculas, did the giant sized thriller cover where you get Dracula's daughter showing up and some other stuff. So cool books. Anyways, right. Chris, number 4.
So this is actually, I went with this book, and I know I'm going to kind of tug on Rob's heartstrings here because this is actually one of his favorite characters. Now, I was aware of the character, but after Rob and I, very early in our friendship, he talked to me about this character and her droids that I quickly fell in love with Dr. Aphra. And I got to admit, comics right now feels kind of weird that we don't have an Aphra ongoing at this particular moment, but I'm glad that this book was gifted to me, and I'm just very, very proud to say that I hammered out a terrific deal on a 9.8 white pager, Darth Vader, number 3, the first appearance of Dr. Aphra, one of Rob's favorite characters, and shout out to Rob's Fat Stacks Old Comics for turning me on to this fantastic character. She is
and boom goes the dynamite.
She is so much fun, but her droids are so much better. Like, we make the stories so great.
Aren't they insane?
They're murderous droids. That doesn't happen in Star Wars, but here we are, like, just incredible.
It just looks like an astromech and a protocol droid, but no, protocol droid's fingers come out. He injects all kinds of poisons and stuff into you, and triples or BT1 he's got flamethrowers and cannons and artillery to pop out of them. Like R2 gets a little freaking oil gun and a zapper and welder torch, and this guy's got freaking Gatling guns.
But for everyone, now is the time to pick up the first appearance of Aphra. You can probably get it somewhere between 150 to 180. And now is the time, because the second she shows up in any kind of Star Wars programming, this book is going to do exactly what it did before, and that is just take off. I'm happy to have this book. I hope to get some of the other printings, because I know Rob's not a big fan of the other of secondary printings and stuff, but I like the color schemes they did with some of them, though.
It is a traditional. There's 4 printings It
Yeah.
is a traditional. We're taking the same cover art and we're just doing a color shift.
Yeah.
So the background changes from, in this case, the blue. The second printing is the orange. The third printing, I think, is green, and the fourth is
green is
purple.
sharp.
It's
Yeah.
either the green or purple are third and fourth.
Yeah.
The third printing is the one that, for whatever reason, is like super expensive. The fourth printing, not so much. I do have a second printing that is signed by Addie Granoff, who did the cover on that.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, and she's just a great character, fun character all around.
Yeah.
Because she's kind of like a little bit more like the Han Solo character aspect that you think of when you think of the dashing rogue who will do whatever. But Han actually isn't. He ends up having having the conscience to a degree. Whereas Chili Afra, no, she sleeps with them, leaves them. She backstabs anyone and everyone. It doesn't matter.
Not afraid to pull a fast one on Vader either.
Yeah. Awesome. Great pick, man. All right. I like it. I do endorse that one. Oops. Why can't I? There we go. Can I drag myself over? There I go. That was weird. It was clicking and going. All right. So my number 4 book. This book is going to go back to my fun time that I love, the Atomic Age. And this book is an early photo cover, actually, even. So this is Strange Adventures issue 1, where we're redoing or telling our story Destination Moon, which of course is a great science fiction story. And this is the launch of Strange Adventures, which would run for 150 or so plus issues or something.
Wow.
Tell various science fiction stories throughout it. It's just an amazing book. Destination Moon movie adaptation and photo cover. Interior cover has full page ad for Danger Trial #1. This was put out in 1950. Carl Swan and Jim Mooney art on the cover there.
Swanee. All right.
But this was just, so yeah, we're taking a movie adaptation and kicking off this #1. Big science fiction guy, as you know, Atomic Age sci-fi. And this is just to get issue #1. I mean, this is like, there are certain anthology series where there's no necessarily in one character throughout it, just collections of stories where, you go back, even like some of the Tales of Suspense and stuff started that way, right? And to get that #1 book is like a big deal. And of course, you can get your photo enlarged for 29 cents.
I'm holding out for a quarter.
Just cut this out and send it in. I'm sure it'll still work.
Now, Rob, let's talk a little about the history of this book in relation to you. Now, did you pick this book up raw?
No.
Or did you pick it up slabbed? And where did you pick it up?
This was picked up as a graded book, and I can't recall, to be honest with you, if I picked it up from an IG collector or if this one was an eBay, because I'd been looking at it in a couple different places. And when I finally could find a copy above a 3 that was at a price I was willing to pay, I jumped on it. So
okay.
Honestly,
I was thinking maybe you made this up at Berkeley, but this was not a California.
No. This was definitely online, either IG seller or eBay, I think. And it was a book that was picked up early this year, like around February or something. I mean, obviously you can see some issues here with the cover, but some of these old sci-fi books, they're almost impossible to find in high grade books. This one, I mean, I can see it's been read a lot. There's definitely some wear at the staples and everything else on it. Actually, is this a 3 staple book? No, 2. Okay. Anyways.
Oh.
So yeah, Strange Adventures #1. If you know this is a cool book. If you're not, then it's like, oh, okay, whatever, Rob.
I'm excited for you that you got it. It's not my cup of tea.
Right. No.
But I can appreciate it. And I can appreciate how much it means to you. Just like you can probably appreciate what kind of story there was.
Oh my.
Look, you can appreciate what kind of story there was when it came to this book.
This one needed a well-dressed old man to introduce.
So yes, and he is a handsome, well-dressed. Yes, you are actually correct. This is Captain America, issue 111. This timeless cover, done by legendary artists, and we don't have that many legends left alive in the comic book world. Jim Steranko. This was a book that I picked up at a small local con, the Kitchener Comic Expo, and it was a part of a package deal that I picked up raw for $80. This and GI Joe number 2 and GI Joe number 2, the second printing, and I ended up having this cleaned and pressed from a local presser, and he did a terrific job. Really cleaned up any surface dirt, and the colors, even though the book was in great shape, came a little bit more vibrant, especially with the Hydra agents down there. And I decided that I was going to have this book signed by Steranko. Now, I do have numerous legendary signatures in my comic collection, but I never had a Steranko. So when I went to Heroes Con this year, I presented this book to Steranko with the CGC witness, and Steranko said, "Hey, I'm going to sign this right above this date stamp." So as you can see, the date stamp is right there through just above his signature, and he signed it great. And when he went to hand the book back to me, he spun it, and when he did, he put a little rip into the front corner between the P and the T. I'm not going to bother trying to show it because it just doesn't show up anymore now that it's slabbed. And I put this book in, and I wanted to get it slabbed at Heroes Con and have it returned to me before I left. And then began the news of the con. Like, it kind of went around quickly that Steranko ripped my book, and people were like, "Oh, are you the guy that had his book ripped by Jim Steranko?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then going through the process of being a fan versus a collector. Being a fan, I was kind of like, I don't care that he ripped it by accident. I'm just glad that I got a signature. And the collector in me was just like, no, you spent all this money, you had it cleaned and pressed, you brought it from Canada to America, and like it was a 7 easily. Now it's going to be a 3 or a 4.
Yeah, you were going right. You really, that tear was huge in your head.
Oh yeah.
And so versus the reality. So in your mind, it was devastating the grade,
yeah.
and you were
to,
going
to me, it's like ripped the whole cover.
Right.
But no, in truth, it's maybe 1/8 of an inch or just under a centimeter, depending on what part of the planet you're living on.
They're about the same either way.
Right. And in the end, the CGC lady that was working there went and got the book for me and did a big reveal. And it was a 6.0, as you can see. And I was very, very happy because in my mind, I'd kicked myself down with this book to like a 3.5 or a 4. And if it came back or a 4.5 or higher, I'd be really happy. But for it to be a 6, and let's be honest, it probably would have got a 7 if the tear wasn't there, or a 6.5. But either way, in the end, it's a classic cover signed by Jim Steranko on one of my favorite characters, Captain America. And for those that are curious, it says Death of Steve Rogers' Identity, Madam Hydra Viper Appearance. And Captain America 111, off-white to white.
Super. Yeah, no, I'm so glad for you that it came out like it did, because you for a while there was like, my God, so somebody's got to go save Chris. His whole con's been ruined.
Oh, I had a good time, but I had a dark cloud. Let's be honest. I had a dark cloud for a little bit of time.
No doubt. All right, Chris. I was talking about the last book there about that atomic age. And so we're going to stay there for my number 3. There is 2 characters that even you know of from that era, that originated that era, that show up throughout media to this day. Matter of fact, one of those characters is getting a comic book series again courtesy of Mad Cave. Any guesses?
But Mad Cave. I thought you were going to go like Adam Strange.
No.
Oh,
No. So originally we had Buck Rogers, and then Buck Rogers was copied.
Flash Gordon.
Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon has a new series coming out.
Oh,
So
I wasn't aware.
yeah. So Dell 4-Color put out a series of books of Flash Gordons that came in. I've been working on collecting all those Flash Gordons. They go there. Now I'm down to only one Flash Gordon for Dell 4-Color remaining. This one, though, is by far the highest grade I've picked up. I haven't checked, but this has got to be close to the highest grade on Census for this book. This is from 1948. Paul Norris cover, CGC 8.0.
Holy cow! Oh my goodness, Rabbi! If you just showed this to me and you said, "All right, Chris, take a guess on the year," right away I'd think of the Aquaman book that I've been hunting that you've had for a little now.
42.
And I would say, you know what? That's probably 67, 68. And you'd be, well, Chris, you're only off by 20 years. Look how bright and vibrant that is. They say 4-color, but my goodness, that is beautiful. My goodness. Wraparound cover.
Yeah, they call pin up on the back. So this is a it's a pin. This is obviously the old logo. You see all the CGC wording there, and this is off white to white pages.
Oh my goodness!
Big shock. It's 1949, but yeah. So you get the rocket ship. We got Flash Gordon coming down. We got a robot down here tending to everything's going on. Flash Gordon, written and drawn specifically for this book, which was a big deal because Flash Gordon was a news daily in the newspapers, and the early issues were really just reprinting.
Yeah, just cut and paste.
So same thing with the Buck Rogers at the time. So when Dell started getting the first stories that were original just for their book, these were to kids or anybody that was into reading that science fiction stuff, Flash Gordon stories. It was like, hey, this is something new. I haven't read this before. I can't get this anywhere else. Wow. So it had a lot of appeal to it. And this is, a great cover, and just in beautiful condition. I may have to at some point crack it and resubmit it just to get it in a newer holder because these older holders suck. But
is there room for improvement? Have you looked it up to see if the presser said that it's been cleaned and pressed?
Well, it's been a while ago, and I can't imagine that it hasn't been. I don't see anything that jumps out at me as far as finger rolls or anything else in there. So I honestly think it's just it is what it is, but it's a question of would it come back what it is, right? There's never that guarantee. You could send it in there and it could come back as 775. That would be painful too. So those are the risks, and those are the things that happen with some of these books. But Flash Gordon, or actually, this is technically it's Dell 4-Color number 204, featuring Flash Gordon from, like I said, December 1948 in an 8.0. And that's my number 3 book.
Beautiful. That's just a beautiful, beautiful comic book.
All right, so let's pause for just a moment there, Chris, as we've each now shown 3 books. We have the top 2 on each side remaining. Now let's throw this up here. Guys, go ahead and put, not in the live chat that's going on here as we've got this as a premiere, but down below in the comments for this video, best weekly box. Then next week, when we come back with our guest, Papa Wheelie, we will start as we're saying hello to everybody. This will be our early giveaway. We're going to go back to this video, pull from these comments, and that's who's going to get our winner, our giveaway win. All right, so best weekly box.
All one word.
Yeah. All right. Let's see, it's your turn, Chris, as I recall now. So oops, that's not right. Why did it flip? Oh yeah, no, that is correct. Never mind. I don't know what I'm
Okay.
doing. All right, number 2.
All right.
2. Who does number 2 work for?
Rob, in the comic book community that we're parts of, who, in your opinion, puts together one of the best charity mystery boxes?
You pretty much narrowed it down really quick there, huh? So Mr. Jack B,
Jack B.
member of the comic army.
Yes. He put out a mystery box where a
Of course,
donation.
he's also, I don't think about it, he's also a member of this channel too.
I
Phenomenal channel
I thought you were
supporter.
gonna add in both.
I had mental blockage. Sorry. Jack B,
okay.
phenomenal. Not only a phenomenal mystery box curator, not only a man with a heart who gives to charity, but a man who also supports both of our channels.
It's true. It's true. He's a wonderful human being. I look forward to shaking his hand one day. Just a little while ago, I opened up one of his mystery boxes, like you did. I was fortunate enough to get one of the GPs. Well, to me, it's a grand prize. Some people consider some of the other books bigger or for whatever reason, and God bless them for their opinion. But there is a Spider-Man book that's not a part of my collection, and I've never had it. And I know Rob has it. And every time it came up, I don't have that book. Rob's like, I have too. And
a newsstand and a direct.
Yeah, I'm happy to say, out of those mystery boxes, where a portion of the donation went to Feed the Children, a wonderful charity that not just helps people in the United States, but the entire world. Feed the Children. You can visit them at feedthechildren.org. The GP was the Amazing Spider-Man, their first appearance of Black Cat. This is issue 194 with this classic Al Milgrom cover. And it is in great shape. It is a newsie, but let's be honest, everything in the late 70s was a newsie. This is from it's from July 9th.
Yeah, the directs are probably rarer.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that one. I can't really tell if it would need a good cleaning and pressing, but at 7.5, I'm not really willing to roll the dice. I'm just
it's
glad
good.
It's one of these books you're just like, I've got it. I'm just gonna put it right here. I'm gonna look at it and I'm just gonna appreciate it because I've wanted it for a long time. And to get it out of a mystery box just blew my mind. And so everyone, whenever Jack B does a mystery box, make sure you have the opportunity to at least put yourself in the position to get one. Go ahead, Rob.
I would say it is really interesting too when you think about it that it took, because she's such a big character really within Spider-Man realm. She's one of the three women of Peter, right? That Holy Trinity, but she isn't introduced until issue 194.
Yep.
And we're talking, Mary Jane and Gwen were introduced so far long ago here. I mean, Gwen's been dead for nearly 100 issues at this point.
Yep. And
it's crazy.
Yeah. And Marv Wolfman did the story. But yeah, I'm happy to have it and legitimately just thrilled to finally have it.
Yeah. It's great. Phenomenal pickup, sir.
Some luck.
All right. Well, here we're down to not only 2 books remaining. I'm gonna make sure that if anybody's been thinking, anybody who wants to think that this is a competition, great. You haven't been. Maybe you're on the fence. Well, this is where now we've gone. Now we're in the championship rounds.
Okay.
This is where we bring in the 1-2, the knock 'em out blows, right? So I went into Heroes Con this year with a mission. I had a list. I had 2 lists actually. I went into Heroes Con with 2 different lists. My A list, which was, this is the top book I'd like to pick up. If so, then here's the other books I might be able to still afford afterwards. And then there was the B list, which was, if I can't get book number 1 off the A list, here's my other list of other mid-sized books that I could pick up instead. And we spent the first day, Friday, because Thursday, we had access as you on press and me working the booth with Comics Curing Cancer.
Yep.
Comics Curing Cancer, folks. By the way, hit that like button if you haven't already, because it's going to help get this in front of more eyeballs, more channel revenue, ad revenue. That all goes to Comics Curing Cancer. Comics Curing Cancer, the charity this channel supports for the American Cancer Society. Our big event is coming up October 4th through the 6th this year. Start digging through your inventory of books and stuff that you have at home now and seeing if you have any items that you can possibly donate to Comics Curing Cancer. So for us to sell during our auction and stuff, that is how we have in the past managed to raise in the last 2 years over $75,000, over $50,000 last year. We're trying to hit $50,000 again this year. Can't do it without your help. So first step is first step. Start digging in your piles and see what you got and reach out to us and let us know. Anyways, so Friday we're walking around just before a show opens. Can't find this book I'm looking for. Find it finally at one booth. They've got 3 copies. Their copies are really meh, not what I wanted. I didn't want to settle for those. Start going do some other stuff. Mark, Legion of Comics, hits me up. Hey, looking? Yep, got over here. Come on. He's already warmed him up. Got him come down some. I come over there, take a look at the book.
This is number 2. I can't believe this is number 2.
I take this book, I look at it, and I go, yeah, it's right. It's right in the grade wheelhouse I wanted to get. I was looking to get a 2.5 to a 4. It's a 3.0, exactly where I want to be. The price is right where I want to be, but I push it. I go, well, I don't know. I was kind of hoping to only pay $2,200, and the guy. So I start to walk as I start handing him the book back, and start turning to walk away, and he comes back and he goes, "Are you paying cash?" Of course, we all know cash is king at the con.
Yep.
Only in 50s, and he goes, "Let's do it." So we counted them out. Of course, he jokes about the bills are sticking together. He's like, "You just print those this morning?" I said, "No, I printed them last night. I had to rub some coffee grounds on them and snort some cocaine through them so I could properly age them." Which, of course, he laughed. It allowed me to walk away with Brave and the Bold, issue 28. Of course, this is the first appearance of Snapper Carr.
It's true.
Yeah. Also,
God, Peter hit me.
Yeah.
Ow!
All right.
Of course,
let me do my thing here. Let me do my thing here.
Okay.
Rob, would you mind reading us all the right side of the blue label on that comic book, please, sir?
Sure. This is the first appearance of the Justice League of America, Starro the Conqueror, and Snapper Carr. It is also the first Aquaman and Martian Manhunter cover appearance, which that one blew me away. I did not realize that Aquaman of Martian Manhunter. Okay, Marvin. I said Marvin, the Martian. Martian Manhunter. That one doesn't surprise me as much, but the fact that Aquaman showed up previous to this, but hadn't been on a cover of a book until this, that actually surprised me a little bit.
What year is this released, Rob?
So this was March 1960.
Wow. Just think about that for a minute. Only till early 1960, then we had Aquaman on the cover. Yeah. And like the powerhouse characters already on there: Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman. But yeah, that I can't believe this is number 2. I all day thinking about this. I'm like, well, Rob's going to flex the first Starro at number 1 because that I just think of that book as the first.
Right.
Starro.
I mean, no. I mean, yeah. And it's really its first Snapper Carr. So come on. It's just like our first Jackal book. I mean, come on.
If you're a Snapper Carr completionist, I got bad news about the price of his first appearance, though.
It's pretty pricey. Yeah, he's that big of an important character. Yeah. So first Justice League. I mean, this was a big get. Somebody else had planted. I knew it was a book. It was on my list to get eventually, but somebody really planted the seed that this should be my pickup this year at Heroes Con. It was actually a viewer of the channel who said, "Well, you know, Rob, you picked up Avengers 1 last year at Heroes Con, so picking up first Justice League this year only makes sense." I was like, God damn it.
Well, first X-Men.
Bookends.
First Punisher.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So there you go. Number 2.
Oh man. He hit me with that Mike Tyson right uppercut. All right. Well, I
You're
guess I
staggering.
gotta try and give him a left hook back.
Number one. That's right. Counterpunch, baby.
All
Your
right.
number one book.
I'm
I'm excited.
just gonna go right for the jugular.
Yeah! Yeah!
Yeah. There's no way I can afford the first appearance of Swamp Thing. Even in a 1/8, it's over $2,000 at this point now. And I love Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing was one of the first, I feel like, adult themed comic books I read in the mid 80s. And that's because Alan Moore and Bissonnette were at the helm of that fantastic Saga the Swamp Thing run. And so I put it in my head, you know what? I'm going to go get Swamp Thing number 1. As a Wrightson fan, I need to have one of his classic covers in my collection. And I managed to pick this up much earlier this year at a small con that I actually had an opportunity to spend some time with J-Man, who's often on my channel on Wednesdays. J-Man was there and hammered out. Actually, there was a couple copies. There was actually an 8, I believe, as well, and hammered out a deal which was Rob would be proud because I flexed FMV all over the dealer and I said, look, that you're way north of where you should be. And I quickly asked, well, did you buy this during COVID? And he said no. And that's when I knew I had him. Like, now, yeah, I know you're not into this book like for big money now. So we ended up hammering out a fair deal that was true to FMV. Basically paid a 4.5 price for a 6.0, only because he had a higher grade copy. And this one it's bright, it's beautiful, it's everything that you would want as a Swamp Thing fan. And for a book that came out in 1972, it's in pretty good shape. The back is nice and bright as well, with the imposter toy here. But this is the origin of Swamp Thing, the first appearance of Lieutenant Matt Cable, Alec, and Linda Holland as well. So happy to have Swamp Thing number 1. I may try and go see if I can try and hunt down the second appearance of Swamp Thing, because first appearance is just through the roof. Kind of makes me think about Ghost Rider. The whole Ghost Rider thing with Swamp Thing. First appearance through the roof. Second appearance, way more affordable.
Stupid cheap, the second appearance of Ghost Rider.
And then Ghost Rider's first ongoing monthly has some
Very
value.
expensive.
Yeah, same thing with Swamp Thing.
Marvel Spotlight 6, I picked one up in an 8.0 for like $200 something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Rob, that's good. But yeah, this is a Lin Wayne story, famous for his connection to first appearance of Wolverine, and Bernie Wrightson cover and art. So so happy to have this in my collection. And one day when I decide to do something about a wall, or where I'm moving on to in the future, this is going to be one of those books that gets displayed. All right, Rob, let me have it, man. Let's go.
All right, now
your number 1.
Number 1 is number 1 for me. Again, this is where we talk about it may not necessarily be the most significant book compared to some of the other books, right? Number 2, some people would say that was the number 1 book, Rob, first there. But I think, Chris, you're going to understand, being a Spider-Man guy and being one of these guys who said, I had announced a while ago, I was working on 1 through 100 slabbed. And at the beginning of this year, I was down to 1 book remaining. So when you cross that final book on a quest like that off your list, it becomes the number 1 book. So at Shortbox this year, I was fortunate enough to come across a copy of this book in a grade that I was looking at, in a price that was somewhat fair, that I managed to negotiate a bundle deal with another book, with Ghost Rider 1 actually, into a really good price from Harley Yee of all people.
Really?
While paying with a credit card. I managed to pick up The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 3.
Smoke if you got 'em.
Of course,
I forgot that you picked this up. I totally get why you put this one number one. For the reasons that you listed, and I would do the same thing as someone that worked on 1 through 50. But
right.
I totally get it, and the importance of it. Probably the one.
The reality is this
Yes.
book is about the same value as the Brave and Bold 28 in the same grade. This is a book that is not dipping like Brave and the Bold. Brave and the Bold 28 has been dipping. This book has not been dipping, not to anywhere near that degree. It is really
There's too much respect. Too much respect on that villain. Like let's be
Doc
honest.
Ock's first appearance. I mean, it
Yeah.
is just great. It is awesome. Now, is it perfect book? No. There's a notation on here that there is some tape on interior.
It doesn't matter.
So I can't see it, but that actually affects why. This is another example, though. Why is this book look so good for a 3.0? Because it has tape on the interior. That tape is actually will actually ding the grade some.
Yeah.
Not a lot, because tape is now CGC. Depending on when it was graded, CGC now views Scotch tape as a conservation tool that was common to be used at the time. And it's actually, I'm betting, I can't see, but I'm betting it's right here where this cover tear is. I'm betting you there's some tape on the inside there to hold that. But anyways, 3.0, great looking book. Like I said, I managed to bundle this with Ghost Rider 1 for $2,400.
Out of Harley Yee.
Right. Yeah, and it's a solid, probably. I don't know. We'll just see that Ghost Rider 1 is not in this stack because it's at CGC right now. But I mean, it's expected to be a good, solid upper mid grade book. So,
Rob, would you mind reading us what's on the right side of that blue label, man?
The origin and first appearance of Dr. Octopus Otto Octavius, the Human Torch appearance.
And who are the two wonderful creators of that book?
Yes. This is Stanley's story as Steve Ditko cover and art.
Oh.
America's most exciting superhero captured by the world's most dreaded supervillain. You are helpless, Spider-Man. I warned you that the power of Dr. Octopus is far greater than yours. Can anything that lives defeat the mighty Dr. Octopus?
And
Yeah,
some would say that he is the best villain to Spider-Man. Like I get Green Goblin's probably the most famous, but he is definitely the 1B. And if you're a comic book reader, you'll know how much of a pain Doc Ock has been over the last 35 years.
he body swapped him.
Yeah, like when Peter died, it was because of him.
My God.
Great book.
Anyway, so yeah, there you go. There's my my top 5 there.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm glad we did this, Rob.
Yeah,
I'm glad we.
All right,
I really didn't think you were going to do the Spider-Man book. I totally forgot that you picked that up this year.
Had one left for this year.
When you showed that Justice League, I'm like, what's he gonna pull? Is he gonna pull out like Buck Rogers 1? Like, is there something I wasn't aware of? Because everyone that's watching, Rob and I are very close. So when it comes to books like this, like we often talk backstage, like, hey, I picked this up, or this is on its way, or
sometimes there's snapshots. Look what I just got before it's even gotten here.
Quick, what do you think? But yeah, I totally blanked out on Doc Ock. Maybe it's just because Heroes Con is still so fresh. And
yeah, hey, it is like 3-4 months ago, right? So yeah. So there we are. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this very special day. Chris, thanks for coming up with a great idea. Why did we have this idea? Why did we do this to begin with anyways? We didn't even set that up. I'm unavailable. I'm cooking all day today. I do a giant cookout. I'm entertaining groups of mass of people. So that's why we resorted to this. We hope that you found it entertaining and would now return you to your regular broadcast day. Having said that, however, I will say one more time, let's just remind everybody that there are still some limited quantities available over at djlinksbigcartel.com. You check those out. Maybe there's even some of the bundles left. You get both for $40. And of course, that all goes to Comics Curing Cancer. You can also support Comics Curing Cancer if you need. You have your books pressed. Rogue Trader's back in action. You can go to theroguetraderutah.com or contact him on Instagram. Use the code FATSTACKS and save 20% off your pressing, including already discounted bundles on the website, which could allow you to get your books cleaned and pressed for less than $10 a book. When you use the code, also, he'll donate $10 to Comics Curing Cancer. And again, we'll be back next week with Papa Wheelie. So join us again next week, 11:30 a.m. Pacific, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Chris, thank you as always. Appreciate you. All the audience, we thank you. All the channel members and henchmen and Goon Squad, thank you all so much. Until next time, collect what you want. Don't listen to either one of us, especially me. There's the fat man, a fat stack of comics, and a fat opinion. Thanks for watching.